Hi, my name is Misha and I'm writing a book. I'm not gonna lie, it's been slow writing times. This fall has just already been tough, I think. I should have anticipated that with work, especially just because things get so busy in the fall time, work-wise, and this past week I probably wrote close to 40 pages just for work. And to think about writing in the evenings after those like heavy writing days during work, no. And it's a different kind of writing. Like, I don't write creatively for work. It's more like reports, and then I had to write a blog and a couple of other things. My energy for writing after that was non existent. And so is my energy in general. Like, I think I've just been feeling a little bit lower energy. So I wanted to kind of take advantage of the weekend when I have a little bit more time. I don't work on weekends. It's really helpful for me to be able to get back into the swing of things and just keep making some incremental progress. Like, I'm not planning on necessarily reaching high word counts. It's just more so maintaining the consistency of my writing practice. If the heavier writing days are focused on the weekend, then that's okay too. I'm telling this to myself mostly. I'm going to continue trying to do at least an hour every day, like especially on weekdays. On weekends, I can do more than an hour, but especially on weekdays, I want to be able to just give myself an hour. Today is Saturday, and I spent the morning doing a little bit of stretching and catching up on some AuthorTube videos, and I'm going to a sculpt class with my friend in about an hour and a half. I do want to spend maybe like 45 minutes just writing before I go to class, and then after that class, I will come back home or go to the library and do some more writing. It depends on how I'm feeling. I might do it at home because I want to take some breaks to do some video editing as well. This week, I've really fallen off on just making progress in video editing and writing, and I miss it. I know it's only been like 5 days, but I do enjoy having these pieces in my life. It's just that my focus had to be in other areas through like some family stuff, and then also catching up with some friends and connecting and figuring out logistics for a trip I have to Colombia in November, which I'm very excited for. Things have just kind of been blah, blah, blah. And we're going to do some writing this weekend. I'm finding that especially for draft 2, like in draft 1, I found that I was really hyped up, and some of my routine was almost watching some AuthorTube videos and then feeling like I'm in the writing zone after that. Just like hearing about people talk about writing just really got me into the zone of it. But right now for draft 2, what I'm finding is that reading is really helping me get into the writing zone. I'm actually reading Monstrilio, which is basically a book about this woman whose son passes away, and she ends up cutting him open and just kind of like taking a piece of his lung and essentially feeding it, and then that lung becomes its own sentient being. It's a real meditation on grief, and I think people's process with grief and how they navigate grief, and it's such a beautiful book. So that's what I'm reading right now, and I think I might do a little bit of reading before I get into the writing zone, just for maybe even like 15 minutes so I can kind of feel like I'm getting into it, and then I'm going to take that break for sculpt class and then get back to it. Let's get back into things. I say that every week as if I am not making progress, and I have to remind myself that I am making progress every week. It might not be to my standards of what I would like to, but I am trying my best, and I think that's all we can ever do. Well, I'll be back with some updates shortly. I am just feeling so tired today. After my sculpt class, I went with a friend of mine, and then we both had to run a few errands downtown. So we just did that together, and then I came home and made some dinner, and now we're gonna get back into writing. I'm feeling a lot more excited. Something that I'm learning also gets me excited about writing is one, reading, and the second thing is just going back over my outline. I think that piece on connecting back to the big picture of things, knowing where I'm going, it keeps me excited. That is really helping right now. So let's get back into some writing things, and we're gonna try to write for, I think I'm gonna put on a timer for maybe like an hour. That's been working out for me. And then take a little bit of a break, and then probably continue writing, or maybe doing a little bit of reading and then going back to writing. I don't know. We're going to see how it goes. So it's been an hour and I wrote about 500 words in that hour and a little bit over that, which I'm pretty happy with. I'm pretty happy with it, and I am about to enter another darker spooky scene, which I am quite excited to write. I love writing those scenes. They're so much fun. I feel like I didn't have enough of these in the first draft, especially earlier on in Act 1. I felt like so much of the pace picked up in Act 2, and I think it was really important for me to actually pick it up a little bit more in Act 1 so that it kind of made more sense and also was more interesting. I'm excited that I am adding this in and I'm feeling pretty good about that pacing. We'll see how it reads tomorrow. I am going to take a little bit of a break and maybe try and sneak in a little bit of video editing and then get back to it and maybe do another hour before I go to bed. I think that's been working for me. I think these like hour chunks are really good for me. We'll see where I get to when I get to it. I am feeling pretty good about my progress. I'm feeling really excited about my story again, which has been quite nice, especially after yet another week of feeling like I didn't make that much progress in it. I wasn't able to dedicate as much time to it because I was writing so much in my day job that I didn't really have the capacity to be able to write like right after work. It's been so nice to actually be able to, hey girl, tap into this story again. And my goal really right now is to spend some time with it, keep making progress on it, and just stay connected to it. Tomorrow I have another writing day. I do have to finish editing this video. Hopefully I've done enough tonight, and I feel like it's at a good place that tomorrow I won't have to spend a crazy amount of time working on it. We'll do it. We're doing the things. We're doing the things. I have basically been writing for most of the morning. I was reading and then taking break. Or I was writing and then taking breaks to read, and I did something kind of crazy. Okay, I think I'm overthinking this. I don't know, but I'm not overthinking it. I don't know. So we're back in past tense. Like the point of view is still first person, but it was like past tense in the first draft. And then for a second, for like 2 weeks, I was like, I think it needs to be present tense. I think it just works better that way. And like there's pros and cons of past and present tense. Like present tense, you can feel a lot more like in the moment. Past tense, you can be a lot more reflective about things. The narrator can also be a lot more unreliable when speaking in the past tense. Lots of pros and cons for both. For young adult fiction, it's more common to use first person present tense. Like that's seen as kind of like the standard. It doesn't mean that young adult fiction has to be first person present tense, but it often is. I'm writing adult fiction, and so like I don't really care what the standards are for things. I'm like, if this works, it works for what you're writing. So I really saw the things that would help with the pacing so much when it comes to present tense. But then I was reading and I was like, I have to write in past tense. It just makes more sense for the story. You know, when you're like, I was right in the beginning. We didn't need to change it when I was in my self-doubt mode. And I know that I said I didn't really make any decisions when I was in my self-doubt zone. I did. I still did. And one of them was to change the entire tense of the story. Thankfully, I haven't drafted like a crazy amount for draft 2. I'm not like very far in. So to go and make these changes isn't as big of a task as it would have been in another space. It's still like, you still have to change sentence structures. Anyways, so I was doing that, and it sounds a lot better now. But I should have just kept it past tense. It was silly. So I did that, and then I took a break, and I was making some food for myself. And then a scene popped in my head, and I like was in the middle of like frying food, and I like ran to my laptop and started writing down this scene, and then wrote like half of the scene and then some like bullet points of what I still need to write. But I just love that feeling. That is a feeling that I crave when I'm writing, and that feels so good when you're writing something and the ideas are just kind of like coming when you're like about to go to sleep, or like in the shower, or like cooking, or like living your life, and then you're like, I have to run and get this idea. I have to put this on paper, otherwise I might lose it. The hardest piece, I think, going from draft to draft as well as even starting the first draft, is building the momentum of your story so that you start to feel more and more connected to it. And I'm feeling like I'm reaching the point where I am getting a lot of that momentum back. And the way that I experience that momentum and like that feeling of connection is when I just get these random pangs or these random ideas when I am not even thinking about the story, when I'm like doing my mundane tasks. I am going to take another break now before I get back into writing, but I'm feeling excited about that scene because I think it ties quite well into the beginning part and gives a little bit more context. I'm feeling pretty good about that. So we'll see where things go. I'm happy with how today is going. It just feels really good to feel so deep in the story again. I will be back with more updates very shortly, but I'm going to take a little bit of break now because I am tired of screen time. I'm going to need to go to bed, but I feel like I got enough down. I keep having this ringing voice in my head that's very much around, you can't get this right. You're not going to get this right. Like some of that self-doubty stuff is coming up, but I'm glad that it's also being hit up against with more moments of inspiration. I'm glad that I really had that moment where a scene really came to me as I was making food. I think that that really helped, especially as I'm kind of going back and forth with this self-doubt train that I'm on right now and feeling maybe not the best about myself or my writing or my capabilities as a person. What is helping quite a bit is just reading a lot. I think that always helps. I don't read as much when I'm drafting my first draft. Like first drafts, I think because I am so deep in it, I'm figuring out the story, I'm learning things as I go, and I'm usually drafting quite quickly. I don't actually have that much space to be reading, whereas for revisions I do divide up my time quite a bit more and I do slower drafting, so that's been helping quite a bit, especially as I'm editing my story, just to be in the horror genre and to enjoy other books and remind myself that I'm hoping to create something like this as well. Not necessarily like a replication of it, but my own version I'd love to add to the pile of fiction and stories in the world. I think that that is really helpful as a reminder as I am going back and forth between, yeah, things are great, things are flowing, and then bloom, things are, I don't know. This weekend was, again, a little bit up and down, but I think just maintaining the practice of coming back and again to it is really important. I'm also hoping that next week I'll be able to write more throughout the week, just because I will hopefully not be producing as much written content as I was the week before for my day job. Here's hoping for that, because that does bring me a lot more energy to be able to write in the evenings when I'm not producing as much content during like 9 to 5. We'll see how that goes. I am excited to kind of continue on draft 2 and see where it takes me. If you made it this far, please let me know in the comments below. What point of the writing process are you currently at? Are there any barriers that you're kind of hitting up against, whether it be your mental health, some self-doubt, a lack of inspiration, just a lack of motivation? I know that during the changes of seasons, I'm always kind of, my whole body and mind start to also sort of feel a little bit out of whack. And so as we're kind of moving into fall, I love fall, but that transition period, I know that everything feels like you're in an in-between. You just feel like I feel like I'm in a bit of like an in-between phase where I'm like, I'm also transitioning into it and adjusting to this like new weather cycle. Does that happen to you? I don't know. It might just be me. That's all I have for you all today. Thank you so much for watching and for joining me on this journey. I'm sure many more ups and downs are to come, but I'll talk to you all very soon. Bye.